Hey there, everyone. It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to the channel. I am very happy to introduce and welcome to you my guest for today, Impact Wrestling's very own Champagne Singh. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good too. Excited to talk to you today. I've been looking at your background and been like, getting to see all of that. I was like, I can't wait to find out a little bit more about you and get our viewers to get to know you just a little bit more. But I want to start off with asking you, you've been with Impact Wrestling now for a couple of years. And
Yeah.
I want to start off by kind of getting your idea of what the experience has been like, what your run has been like in Impact.
It's been good. It's been full of ups and downs. But there's some individuals that we need to, we don't always have the upward trajectory right away, and we just get to stay at the top. Some of us have to go through those trials and tribulations. I ended up being injured, so I was out for just over a year, and then I had to reinvent myself, and now it's time to pop the cork and start all over again.
You mentioned that, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, and having to be gone for over a year. That is in wrestling, that is just so much time. How did you feel when you had to take that time off, and how did you feel coming back?
That time off, like you said, it is a long time in wrestling, but it's felt like an eternity. But I was blessed enough to be surrounded by really good people, had a great support system. Of course, my father, who's in the wrestling business, he knew about injuries, so he talked me through things, and I had the great support from the president, Scott Demore, as well, and Tommy Dreamer would be checking in with me and giving me updates. So it was a way for me to just reinvent myself and come back like 100% better than I was before I left. So it's kind of cliche to say, but it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I can see that because, you mentioned kind of having to reinvent yourself. Tell us about that. What was the reinvention process like for you? What are some of the things that like you're doing differently or that you feel you're doing differently? And also, uh, how you feel you've advanced, or I guess you can say upgraded as a performer.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Um, when I first signed in with Impact, it's kind of like one of those lifelong dreams as a kid wanting to be a wrestler and professional on TV. Um, and then finally, when I got there, it was kind of more like I was just happy to be there and trying to just keep my position as opposed to really just showing the world what I can do. So I kind of just, for the lack of a better term, I was just like, I don't give a crap. I'm gonna go and do me, and let the world know what I can do. And then in turn, I'm going to show the production team what I can do and show the other talent around the world what I can do, and especially the fans, right? So I really just turned the volume up on my real life self, and now Champagne Sing is here.
I like how you say that, like, turn the volume up on your real self, because I've heard a lot of people say this. I've heard people say that, and I may be butchering the actual expression or whatever, but people say that the best characters on TV are themselves times 10.
100%, like times 1,000 or over 9,000 for me.
Right.
Um, that's what it was. You just can't be. You can't be content with getting there. Of course, appreciate the opportunity you're given, but I wasn't really showing my persona and my personality, and now I've just taken the ball with it, and I'm gonna roll with it, and just I'm gonna be myself, and I'm gonna give everybody no choice but to either like me or hate me.
I like that. I definitely like that. Now, I do want to actually, I kind of want to ask you this now before we transition into something else, because I kind of want to learn more about your background. But I'm curious because, you're talking about how, the ups and downs and getting to different spots on the roster and this and that. For you, what are those for you? What would be like the end goal, the end vision, or the end game, your plan for where you would like to see yourself on the Impact Wrestling roster?
That's another good question. I so I'm happy. I'm happy with where I am right now, but I have, like as you said, what my goal would be. I want to be a champion. Everybody wants to be a champion, but more importantly, I want to be somebody that the Impact world is excited to see on TV, and they want to see my character and the talent in the locker room. They want to work with Champagne, and they don't want to just look at me as another name on the list. And I want them to be excited about being in the ring with me or sharing screen time with me, doing our promos backstage, whatever it may be. I want to be one of those people that are relied upon to take it to the next level.
You mentioned kind of like guys getting excited to wrestle you and whatnot. And you've been doing a lot more singles matches too. Like you got to wrestle PCO, Speedball Mike Bailey. How does it feel to go in there and get more singles matches and with guys that are so different, so diverse? Everybody kind of brings something totally different to the table.
That's what I love about Impact Wrestling. We have such a diverse locker room, from the knockouts to the men. We have so many different styles and, even age groups. And we have, uh, you know, I never thought I'd ever be in the ring with PCO. Never in my life did I ever think I'd be in the ring singles with him. And being able to do that was great. I'd love to just smash his face on live TV. And then, like you said, working with guys like Speedball, with Rich Swann, with Sammy Callahan, this is great stuff because, like, when I was on the mend, I was watching these guys and I was like, I need to be in the ring with those guys. And no disrespect to the tag team division, of course, because I got my brother Shara with me. That's always great. And now we're also getting the opportunity there, getting to work with guys like Heath and Rhino. So it's been very special, actually.
And that's cool. I've always thought about that. I've always thought that it's cool whenever you get to see tag teams that are like a tag team, right? And doing their thing, but also getting to see those guys kind of go off and do their own thing at the same time, but without it feeling too just too separate, but also just getting to see them do something in the singles realm.
Of course, yeah. We're lucky. We're lucky. Impact is doing it the right way. We get to show our craft in both the tag team and the singles, so it's extra fun that way.
Yeah, it definitely is. So speaking about fun, I know that you have a background as a massive hockey fan, hockey lover, however you want to call that. I am curious about this because I saw that you started very young in hockey in terms of your passion, and it even developed into more than that. Can you tell us about what tell us about your love of hockey?
Yeah, it's quite strange, as much as I've loved wrestling my whole life, I've liked hockey the same way. So I had the dream of making the NHL, or playing professional hockey. It didn't go that way because I kind of just changed my route and started wrestling. But that's okay because I had a bunch of friends and stuff that are in the NHL, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not all that it's cracked up to be." So I'm okay with being a wrestler. I then started playing ball hockey, which is not well known to most people, but it's the exact same as ice hockey. You just take out the ice and you're running instead. And we have like the World Cup and national tournaments and stuff like that. So I was fortunate enough to represent Team India at the World Cup a couple of times before I fully committed to wrestling and like putting on size and muscle and all that. So I did that. And then when I went to college, I went to be a counselor to help young children that are troubled, like troubled youth. So I found an outlet to do that would also be combining my hockey. So then I created a men's league, and basically just keeping my friends away from trouble and drugs and things like that. And we started with just a group of friends, maybe 20 guys, maybe 30 guys, and now we have over 170 right now.
Oh wow! In the league that you created.
Yeah, it's been running for 15 years now. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool because it's like you have this community, this group of a lot and more than a group, a big group of friends that all love this sport. So when you say like the league, like what are the details of that? Like how many games do you guys do? Like what is that?
So we try to run it pretty much like an NFL, NHL type deal. We have 14 game season. We have 10 teams. Sorry, we're down to 8 teams now, but we have 18 players per team, and we run through the summer months. We just run April to July, and it's on the weekends. Give everybody an avenue or an outlet to get away from the realities of the world and really just compete with each other, but also, and it's not only friends, actually. We have a bunch of people that just sign up or they want to find a way to play and get involved and then to make new friendships and stuff like that. So it sounds kind of corny in the grand scheme of things, but really I make an amateur sport for the professional inside of all of us.
I don't think it sounds corny at all. I think it sounds really cool because I think like as we obviously this has been a passion of yours since you were young. If not, you wouldn't have gone this far into it. But I feel like even like as adults, like I feel sometimes you just need that community, that sense of community and going out. And if you're involved in some sort of sports, as obviously, in all these cities, there's little sports that you can join and stuff like that, depending on your interest. But it's so hard for an adult just to go in and be like, you know what? I'm going to join a softball team. And so when you have something like that, I feel like I don't know, it adds to the value and quality of someone's life.
100%. I agree with you. And it gives that outlet. And, just even if the game is just an hour long, it says that getting away from the stresses of real life and just competing and feeling like a professional. And like we do the whole thing where we interview the players with press conferences and post it on social media. And I have guys' wives messaging me. It's like, yo, you're ruining my husband. All he wants to do is just play. He can't wait for the playoffs. Now we're moving our family vacation a week because of you. I guess I'm the bad guy in hockey too.
Oh man, I seriously love that. I just think that is so cool and it gives people this avenue to just like go and play sports and I feel like and you can attest to this, but when you are in sports, whatever sport it is that you are, when you have the mindset of an athlete, it just changes the way that you live your everyday life.
100%. Yeah, it kind of it's kind of scary because it takes everybody's mind. That's all they think about all the time. So it's a good thing though. I'm happy about that because it's as you said, we actually call it the Royal Hockey League community. So it's good. It gives everyone that sense of community and belonging. And it's not really about the actual game itself. It's more about everyone collectively being there together and booing their buddies on the other team and making new friends, hanging out for a couple of drinks afterwards and stuff like that. So that's what it's really about, the community.
That's really cool. And how often do you play? Especially given that you're doing wrestling, you got the impact schedule. Is it just during those seasons or do you find other time to play?
So I only just played in a national tournament a week ago, but I myself have taken a step back from playing because wrestling's my priority, and I'm busy pretty much every weekend. But I still do the organization thing because that was always a goal of mine when I started the league in 2008. I really wanted to make sure that I had the vision that 20, 30 years down the line, I want to be sitting in the stands wearing a suit watching the games. Kind of create kind of create like another league for people, and it's cheap too. It's not like playing ice hockey, where you got to spend 5 grand on equipment. You're really just buying a pair of runners, a helmet, and gloves, and ready to rock.
Man, and that's the cool thing. I think you found like an alternative to that. So do you? So I there was one thing that I wanted to touch on before we move too far past from that. But you
Sure.
mentioned going down the direction of pursuing wrestling instead of hockey. What
Mm.
exactly happens there? Because you just mentioned, like, oh, I decided to do focus more on wrestling, but why? What was it that made you go, okay, this is the path that I'm going to go down? And when did your love of wrestling even commence there?
Well, I grew up in the business, right? So my father was a wrestler, and all my earliest memories as a kid all involved wrestling, being at the Stampede Pavilion in Calgary. And anytime I had something free to do, it was always wrestling. I would have a hockey practice, whatever, but then I'd come home and watch wrestling on TV or play with my toys or wrestle with my brothers. I didn't really work on hockey. I just happened to be kind of good at it. So it was more like when that time came, my dad's friends started training, and my cousin started training, and then I was just like, you know what? Hockey. I was getting injured a lot in hockey. It's weird. It's funny to say. I was getting injured a lot, and I was getting a lot of opportunities to play, and then quite frankly, I didn't really want to move away from home. I had an opportunity to move to the States when I was a kid to go play, and I was just like, maybe I'll just stick with the family, and I could wrestle and do that. So, weighing out the two things, I have no regrets of my decision.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that because I feel like it is one of those things where you have to weigh in all of your options, right? And I didn't think that that would be the thing that you'd be like, okay, well, I didn't want to move to the United States and have to do that, but it is true. You have to uproot your entire life.
100%. At 17 years old, I would have had to move. And I mean, it's, a lot of people do it, and much respect to them, but I'm really close with my family. And at the same time, it was kind of like a foreign thing because I was always just playing hockey locally. So then, I was like, yeah, I could stay home and focus on my craft and start professional wrestling.
So this may be a weird question, but did hockey at all help you out in the wrestling side of things?
100%.
How
100.
so?
Um, So when, I don't have the best performance in the ring, or I look back at myself, my own performances, I might turn around and pick on things that, fans may not, or I might have a conversation with somebody that'll give me some advice. But then I don't take it to heart because I had those coaches that, they would bench me for not having a good performance, or things like that. So I really took all my hockey experience, negative hockey experiences, and took that team environment and the progression and the development and applied it to my professional wrestling.
It's like you're like, "They made me hard," right? Like, they make you hard. Like, they because I see this, like, coaches are I don't wanna say I don't know if the right word is mean, but they're a lot more, strict, and they tell you how it is. If you messed up, you know about it, right? And so they're more cutthroat, and I feel like when you're, like, already used to that, and then you go into wrestling and you have people saying whatever, the fans or whoever saying anything, you're like, "Ah, whatever. My coach already, told me what it is I need to know," or something like that.
That's exactly it, 100%. And I do the same thing when I have when I used to run teams. I'd be coaching, and I give that tough love. I don't give a pat on the back for the things you're supposed to do right, but I'll definitely let people know when they do it wrong.
I see it. I see it all the time. I see it, and I like that though because I feel like it just toughens you up for like other aspects of the world. So I do also want to ask you is do you think if you were to form a hockey team with an Impact Wrestling, who would be some of those people that you think would be part of it?
Well, I'm rubbing elbows with the champ, Steve Macklin, right now. So I put him on. He's a big body. He could throw his weight around. Probably Speedball because he's French Canadian. I can assume he can skate.
And
Uh,
he's quick too, so maybe he'd skate
that's
really
right.
fast.
Yeah. And I wonder. I think Scott Demore used to play hockey, so I'd probably put him on the team as well too. Maybe make him the assistant captain, or I could yell at him if he doesn't do his thing.
You're like the shoes on the other or the shoes on the other foot, whatever that saying is.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
exactly.
god. That's really cool. Awesome. All right. And I guess last question for you is, we already talked about goals, but I do want to ask you, where people can support you, what they should be looking forward to. Why should they tune in to Impact Wrestling?
Of course, I want everybody to tune in to Impact Wrestling, especially Under Siege this weekend on May 26th and 27th. We are in London, Ontario, as well as every week on Impact Wrestling, especially on the Zone. You can watch that in Canada, Access TV in America. And if they want to find out about myself, it's True Raj Singh for both Twitter and Instagram. And then from there, they can see my links for all my other stuff with my hockey league, the RHO.
Awesome. Awesome. Champagne Singh, thank you so much for chatting with me here today and teaching me a little bit about the hockey world. I learned a lot just from talking to you. Thank you to everyone watching. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you in the next vid.